Good morning or afternoon, fifth grade reading detectives. This is Mrs. Holman, and I am your teacher for this week. And I am so excited to get started with you. So we're going to go ahead and get started. As you can see, we are doing making inferences and drawing conclusions this week. And I'm so excited about it. It's something that we do in every aspect of our life. So yes, we do it in text, and I am a reading teacher, so that is my love. But we also look at pictures, and we also do it in our everyday life. So I want you to think about when you're making inferences and drawing conclusions, where have you used this ability or this skill before? Let's put on our reading detective hat. So I can think of one way when I get up in the morning and I get dressed and I get ready to come out to go to work, and the sky is gray. And so the sky is a little bit gray. I automatically can think of, okay, it's probably going to rain. And so I have to go back in and I have to get my rain gear, my rain boots, my umbrella, maybe a rain jacket. So we use this in every walk of life. So we are going to dig in a little bit more. And you notice when I introduced myself, I called you reading detectives, and that's because you are. And it takes skill to be able to really find and make inferences and draw conclusions. So you're going to be my detectives this week and hanging with me. And so our learning objective today and for the rest of the week is I can make inferences and draw conclusions based on what I already know, my background knowledge and my evidence of the text or picture. So a little bit of a graphic using what I know plus the information from the text or picture gives me my conclusion or my inference. And so let's go back to the example I used a few minutes ago with the rain. So I already know that when the sky is gray, it usually means it's going to be some bad weather, right? And so the information, not from the text, but from the picture, as you can call it, is that the sky is gray. I put those two together, and now I infer that it's raining. So that's one way that you're able to go ahead and make inferences and draw conclusions. So every great coach has a playbook. Every great detective has a playbook. And so since you're reading detectives and I am your teacher as your coach this week, ours is our anchor chart of drawing conclusions and making inferences. And as you can see, I've already done it. If we were at school, I'd be hanging it up behind me. But now we had to put it on our slide. So I want you to pause me and take a minute to go ahead and write this. So during this lesson throughout the week, you're going to need pens or pencils, paper, or crayons, markers, or highlighters, whatever you can grab at your house, because there are going to be a couple of times you need to go ahead and create something. So take a minute, pause me to go ahead and draw out your anchor chart. All right, welcome back. So we've talked about drawing conclusions and making inferences, and you have already created your anchor chart. And so this just says that drawing conclusions and making inferences means to make an educated guess. Authors don't always explain everything that happens. Readers use clues to figure out what is not said, right? So what's not said? So when we have that conversation, sometimes we don't really want to, the author doesn't want to tell us everything explicitly. And so if they're not telling us explicitly, then we have to read between the lines. That's where the detective work comes in. So what you already know, the details you're reading in the text or you're seeing in your graphic or your picture, and there you have it. So again, let's go ahead and do a warm-up activity. I gave you an example of that I thought of and that I use in my real life, and I wanted you to think of one, but let's do an example. So John went to a pizza party with his friends at a bowling alley. When it was John's turn to bowl, his friend noticed a grease spot on his shirt. We can infer or conclude that John received the grease spot from. So take out your anchor chart. Let's look at, what do I already know? Well, bowling alleys are crowded and loud, and it could be that someone is easily able to bump into you. I know that pizza is greasy, what's the evidence from the text? Well, I've actually already said that even with my experience. We're at a pizza party, so we know that pizza was what the food that was eaten. We're at a bowling alley. We know sometimes bowling alleys can be a little bit crowded. So when you have a grease spot on your shirt, I can infer that the grease spot came from pizza dropping. Now, we had to justify our answer by going back into the text. We had to dig for clues. We had to use our background knowledge. That is what making inferences and drawing conclusions is all about. Now, you may say, Mrs. Holman, he could have gotten that spot from something else. He could have. But remember, as a reading detective, we're reading between the lines of the evidence that is provided. You cannot go out and make conclusions or infer or conclude something not based on evidence that's provided. There is nothing in this small passage that tells us that there was any other food that was available that could have caused the grease spot, or that maybe someone had something in their hand that was available that could have caused the grease spot. So again, make sure we're always digging into the text. Now let's just have some fun and look at a picture, because we talked about this can happen with pictures. So my evidence, or just what I see, there's a thermometer. She does not look happy. She has on a robe and her hand is on her head. So my background knowledge, what can I infer or conclude? When I'm thinking about this, let's see. She could be sick. I know that when I have a thermometer, it means I probably have a temperature, so it's probably that I'm sick. What else can I infer? She gets to stay home from school. Well, we don't know what day it is, right? But she is in a robe, and if she's sick and she's a child, children usually go to school. If it is a weekday, she's not going. Why? My background knowledge tells me that when I'm sick, I can't go to school if I have a temperature. Last, she's not happy. How do you know? Well, her picture, she looks like she's about to cry, or maybe she's sad. And your background knowledge would tell you that when you're sick, you're not a happy camper. You're not feeling well. So again, these are ways that we use our evidence plus our knowledge to go ahead and give us a conclusion or inference. So what did we learn today? We learned about inferences and background knowledge and how to put all of that information together to give you a strong inference or conclusion. That evidence always, and plus your knowledge, will equal your inference or conclusion. And always remember our learning target. I can make inferences and draw conclusions based on what I already know. Again, the background knowledge and evidence from the text. So before we go, I'm going to go ahead and review your practice activity for this afternoon, because I do want you to take this video to help you with making inferences and drawing conclusions and what you learned today, and be able to put it in practice and show me what you have, right? So I'm going to stop the share for a second, and then I'm going to share our practice activity. So let's look at this. Here we go. So making inferences and drawing conclusions, you are going to be doing this with a picture of the day activity. So as you can see, we have some young men walking. If you look close, it looks like it's raining. You can see like mud puddles. So you're going to use evidence from the picture to support your inference about where the boys are going. So that's one picture. The next picture of the day is you are going to go ahead and look at this picture of quite a few dogs and a woman or man with the dogs on a leash. And so you're going to use your evidence to determine or make an inference about the occupation of the person in the picture. So again, I am really, really excited to be your teacher today, and for the rest of the week. I want you to be able to go through this video and be able to come back and use it as a reference point. But have fun doing the picture of the day activity. Share it with a family member, and make sure you come back tomorrow ready to share your answers with me, virtually, of course. Have a good rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.